Welcome to Fussball Geekz Festive Quiz Heat 2, the second of two heats with the two top scorers joining Stephen Scragg and Marvin Close in our New Year's Eve final. Our contestants again are a fine body of ex-guests. We have Michael Hamlin from the 80s, 90s football Twitter page. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Phil. How are you?
Very well, mate. Now, you've built up a kind of wealth of knowledge over the years, doing your football writing and stuff. So how do you rate your chances of success this evening, mate?
Well, after listening to the previous episode, not very good.
Yeah, as I said, I have diluted the questions a little, so hopefully there will be some answerable ones, and we are going to be doing some kind of those little ones where I was dropping in where you can get closest to the score. So hopefully that will give somebody a little bit of a kind of lucky dip chance of putting a few points on the board, if nothing else.
Excellent.
So next up, we have founder, creator and editor of the Celtic fanzine, The Shamrock. It's Paul McQuaid. How are you, Paul? You all right?
I am good, Phil. Thank you very well.
Good. Last time we spoke, it was the height of summer and everyone was boiling hot. And now it's freezing cold, mate.
Indeed.
So yeah, time has moved on. So you're an oracle of all things Celtic. Can we expect the same proficiency with other football trivia subjects, mate?
Absolutely not.
I love how people are setting the bar really low early doors. Yeah. So anything above that's going to be fantastic. So that's great, mate. Well, just do your best. You know, we're here for a bit of. It's just a bit of fun. So moving on, and now we have not one but two Peters. They collaborated on the recent book Moments That Could Have Changed Football Forever, which is a splendidly fun romp which takes in all many what ifs of football. It's like a sliding doors kind of book. It's fantastic. So if you can get your hands on it before Christmas, perfect Christmas present. But they'll be locking horns tonight. Okay, so it's a bit of a local derby, the two Peters up against each other. So boys, now your powers have been split in two tonight. So how do you think this is going to affect your performance?
Pete is the oracle, by the way.
Oh, right, okay.
Pete has an astonishing level of football knowledge, just setting him up there, but he does. It should be interesting. I like quizzes. You like quizzes anyway, because you learn things on quizzes, don't you? If you don't know the answer, you can impress your mates the day after, can't you, by telling them something, you know.
That's exactly right, mate. You can pretend it's your own question, can't you? And baffle and annoy people. I like to do it where I don't tell them the answer for like about 2 hours, just so I become the most hated person in the office. So Peter P, how do you think your chances are? So you've been bigged up there, kid.
I'll do very well at answering the questions I know the answers to.
What a wonderfully diplomatic way of answering the question. Wow, fantastic. Of course. So with no further ado, boys, should we just dig right in there and go in at the first round? And the first round's one that I'm hoping is going to get you off on a good foot. The one I did last time, first round, was behind the Iron Curtain. Now there is that round, but we're not going to do that early doors. We're going to do that when everyone's brains have bedded in a little bit. Okay, so the first round is going to be the World Cup. Okay, so if you write your answers down, and at the end of the round, I'll score these, but I won't take your scores off you. We'll score up after every 2 rounds, and then see where the land lies after every 2 rounds. Okay. So the first question, guys, pens at the ready. I'll repeat that. Who were the first Caribbean country to win a World Cup finals game? So who were the first Caribbean country to win a World Cup finals game? Number 2. Which Northern Ireland player was sent off during their historic 1-0 win against Spain at the 1982 World Cup? Which Northern Ireland player was sent off during their historic 1-0 win against Spain at the 1982 World Cup? 3. Name the scorers in Scotland's last World Cup finals victory. 3. Name the scorers in Scotland's last World Cup finals victory. Number 4. Which South American nation scored their only World Cup finals goal in their third tournament at World Cup 94 in the USA? And question 5.
Can I have that one again, Phil? That last
Yeah,
one?
yeah. Which South American nation scored their only goal in the World Cup finals in their third tournament at World Cup 1994 in America? And number 5, who were the last Caribbean country to win a World Cup finals game? I'll give you a clue. There was a 60-year gap between the first Caribbean country to win and the last one to win. So a little bit of a clue, if that helps in any measure at all. So, guys, that's round 1 out the way. Now, Michael, how are you, mate? You all right? How did you fare on that one?
Not very good, to be honest with you.
Oh, right, okay, that's great. That's a good start then. Excellent. Now you host the 80s and 90s football site on Twitter. What kind of started that interest in football for you, and what made you thought this set up the site?
Well, the reason I think I set the page up, if anything, there's a number of factors that really all revolve around COVID, if I'm honest with you, why I set it up. But in terms of my interest in football, I think that really stems from sort of the 88-89 season, going to football, going to see Brighton, first season there, and then the climatic of 89 Anfield ending, and then of course roll into the World Cup Italia 90 year after. So, you know, people of my age, they all go on about Italia 90, which I know isn't the best World Cup in the world in terms of what happened on the pitch, but if you look at the aesthetics around with the stadiums and the TV graphics and the kits, it's one of those sort of World Cups that's quite iconic. But I suppose some interest built up from there and sort of went on. But in terms of setting the page up, I think with COVID, it was just something to do. It was just, I think there was this massive upsurge, wasn't there, in sort of retrospective, sort of retro football and memorabilia. And I suppose I jumped on the bandwagon as well and saw other people doing what I do. And I thought, well, you can't beat them, join them. So I decided to join in. And I did that about 3.5 years ago. And I didn't expect to do very well, if I'm honest with you. I sort of hoped to get sort of 1,000 followers, and at the back of my mind, maybe 5,000 followers. And it's just gone on and on. And it's grown to be what it is today, which great surprise.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with me, because I only started my page up in 2020, and it was initially I was doing like kind of paintings of those kind of like fan scarf, but I was doing them on wood, and it was like fixtures from history, and I did like a Scotland v Zaire one from 1994, and I did a number of Italy v Haiti from 1974. As you can see, I got a fixation with the 1974 World Cup and Minnow Nations. So that's how it started, and it just, people just seemed to like it, and it just grew into something that it wasn't in the first place. So it's from these kind of small acorns, these things grow, don't they? And here we are today, doing dreadfully in a quiz. Fantastic, all together.
Yeah, exactly.
Apart from the other Peter, I can see he's looking quite confident up there. So let's move on to round 2, guys, and see how we fare in this one. This second round is called South America. Okay. Now I'm going to ask the initial questions, but when we come to score, there will be some bonus points going. Okay, and I'll just be asking you in turn what you think the answer is. Okay, so the first question in the South America section of the quiz is: who is Brazil's most capped player? Number 1, who is Brazil's most capped player? Number 2, guys, who is Argentina's all-time top scorer? Number 3. Which country won their only Copa America title in 1975? Which country won their only Copa American title in 1975? Number 4, and I'm going to give this for 2 points, actually, because it's what were the common factors between the 2015 and 2016 Copa America finals? There were actually, I think there were 3 very common factors. So I suppose I better give. One was the teams that were in it. One was the score, and the other was another kind of variable that I'll let you kind of fill the gaps in. I don't want to give too much away. Okay. And number 5, who are the only Paraguayan team to win the Copa Libertadores? Question 5, who are the only Paraguayan team to win the Copa Libertadores? So, guys, we're going to go back and score now, okay? And as I say, there will be some bonus points going on a few of these questions. But when we come round, I'll do that, okay? So the first question was, who were the first Caribbean country to win a World Cup finals game? And the answer is Cuba. Cuba in 1938, they beat Romania in a playoff replay 2-1. Peter P, do you know where that was? What city that was in?
It's tell you the crowd. Don't worry about
that. I just had an inkling on that.
It was cute. Yeah, it was Cuba, guys. So Pete, looks like Peter's taking a very early lead.
Yeah, I haven't got the other ones.
Right. Okay. Well, at least you got one on the board. At least you're off the mark. Number 2, which Northern Ireland player was sent off during their historic 1-0 win against Spain at the 1982 World Cup? And that was Mal Donaghy. Mal Donaghy. Fantastic. I've got a thumbs up from Peter T at the top there. Well done, mate. Number 3. This is for 2 points. Okay, there's 2 scorers. Name the scorers in Scotland's last World Cup finals victory. Well, the last World Cup final victory was against Sweden in 1990, and the scorers were Stuart McCall and Mo Johnson from the penalty spot. So, 2-1 victory against Sweden. So 1 point for each of those boys. Number 4, which South American nation scored their only World Cup finals goal in their 3rd tournament at World Cup 1994 in America? And it was Bolivia.
Ooh.
In a 3-1 defeat against Spain. And that's
Rough and running.
Yeah, off the mark. Fantastic. I think everyone's got a point on the board now. I think we're really smoking now, boys. And number 5, who were the last Caribbean country to win a World Cup finals game? 60 years on from Cuba at World Cup 1998, it was Jamaica. Jamaica, who beat Japan in a group game. In the group of death, they were in there with Argentina and Croatia. And Japan avoided the wooden spoon by beating Japan in the final group game. 2-1 again. So moving on, guys, we're going to go on to the South American one, and I'll come back with the bonus questions in a little bit, but we'll just do the original point scoring. So Brazil's most capped player, it was Cafu. Cafu, okay. And right, so what we'll do, I'll do a +1 on this one. We'll do it now, okay. So how many caps did he get? I'll ask you all in turn, and whoever gets the closest gets an extra point. So keep that point up. So we'll start. I'll do it in different orders because it'd be unfair to go. So Peter P, we'll start with you. How many caps did Cafu win?
A lot.
He did. It was.
Just round it up, Pete. Round it up from a lot.
140.
140. Okay, and go on. Then we'll go with Paul. Paul.
108.
108. Michael.
130.
130. And Peter T.
121.
121. I can tell you now that the bonus point has gone to Peter P. It was 142 caps. So Pete, stick another one on your total, mate. Well done. That was good. Our Argentina's all-time scorer. It was Lionel Messi. But how many goals did he score? Okay, so we'll start with Peter T this time. We'll go in reverse order. Peter, how many goals did he score?
All-time scorer.
All-time scorer.
89.
89. And we'll move on to Paul. Paul, how many do you think he scored?
75.
75. Michael?
69.
69. And Peter P.
How many did you say, Pete?
I said 89.
I'm going to go 90.
90.
Gameplay coming in. Gameplay
He's allowed to do it, you know. That's the game, isn't it?
Sorry, Pete.
And you know what? It's won him it as well. It has, because he actually scored in 180 into 180 caps he got. He scored 106 goals. His nearest rival scored 50 less than him. Can anyone tell me who that is? Anyone want to put their hand up and say?
Batistuta.
It was Peter. It was Gabriel Batistuta scored 56, but with a much better goal ratio. He only played 78 internationals. And
to be fair, I was going to put Batistuta because Lionel just seems a bit obvious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You try to double guess yourself with that one, aren't you? And then you go, I'm going to look
at Phil's way of getting a sort of point.
Exactly, and like I said last time, I've had to dilute it a bit because people were just like, "Oh, you're killing us here." Last week's one, you're killing us here. So I just thought it's nice. It's nice to be nice, isn't it? Yeah. Especially at this lovely festive time.
I needed more dilution, I have to say.
Right. So moving on. Which country won their only? This question 3. Which country won their only Copa American title in 1975? The answer, fellas, is Peru. Peru. They beat Colombia 1-0 in the final. In a playoff, it was the third game. It's hard. Like, do you know when you talk about the '78 World Cup and Scotland's group, and they were well favoured to go through. Well, they had the runners-up from the previous tournament, the champions of South America, and the champions of Asia in the group. So it wasn't the kind of cakewalk that a lot of people thought it was going to be. It was crazy. It was crazy difficult, really, and that, as it proved it was. But
as my ex-Scottish girlfriend used to say, we still had the best songs.
I think it's probably right, yeah. And the best posters as well. The 1982 World Cup is that famous one, alcoholism over communism. When they played against the Soviet Union, that was a cracker. That was, wasn't it? So, boys, moving on. Question 4, the common factors between the 2015-2016 Copa American finals. I'm going to break it down into 3. So it's worth 3 points. I know I said 2 before. The first one, that they were both 0-0 draws. Yeah. The second one, they were both contested between Chile and Argentina. And the third one, they were both decided on penalties with Chile winning. Okay, so if you've got any of those guys, just pencil yourself in for those ones. Okay?
I got Chilean pens.
Chilean pens, that's fine. Have two for that. Number 5, guys, the only Paraguayan team to win the Copa Libertadores, it was Olympia. And a bonus question, boys. This is how many times did they win it? And we'll start with Paul first. Paul, how many times did they win that?
Twice.
We'll go with Peter T. How many times?
3.
Peter P.
Got to go 1.
I can see where this is going.
6.
And then Michael's got to go 23 6. After that.
Yeah, Michael's got to go either. What would you say, Mike?
I'd go with 1.
1. It was 3. Who got 3? Hey, there you go. Stick that point on there, Peter T. Fantastic. It was 3 times. They beat Boca in 1979, Barcelona of Ecuador in 1990, and Sao Caetano of Brazil in 2002.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, you knew all that. You knew all that. So, yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah, obviously, you got the
Of course
3.
they did.
All the additional information was all
Who
part of the
doesn't know that one?
It's all part of the package, weren't it? Yeah. No, we're going to talk to Paul now, because Paul is the now, if you want an authority on Celtic Football Club, the Shamrock is the place to go. But you've added to this vast wealth of boys' historical content by releasing a new book, haven't you, Paul? Would you like to tell us about that new book?
Yeah, in the middle of trying to do another book, which is now going into its 2nd year of preparation, I decided to do a picture book based on Celtic's first manager. And the reason for that is because there's so many pictures of him, primarily, a lot of them not particularly well known, but also his longevity in the game and in his life. He lived to almost 90 years old. He played in Celtic's first ever game. He became Celtic's first ever manager, and his uninterrupted employment with the club went from 1887 through to 1940. So it's an incredible span of time. And I think he's a figure who's largely been taken for granted, you know. And arguably he created 3 of the greatest Celtic teams during his time in charge. And yeah, so just a kind of novel way of telling someone's life, you know, through pictures, their football life through pictures. That was the idea.
Yeah, I mean, these are the kind of cornerstone people in any football club's history that kind of define and perpetuate the club, aren't they? So a really, really intriguing character. And you said you're going to send me a free copy, didn't you? So I'm looking forward to receiving that through the back. Oh, the perks, the perks of the job, fantastic. Well, I'll return the favour, mate, when mine comes out. So we're all square on that one. I'm not just a mercenary. I do give too. So should we move on? We'll move on to round number 3, guys, and it's about the European Cup. Everyone loves the European Cup, don't they? And I've tried to keep the contest questions in the European Cup era context. Tried not to veer too far forward into the Champions League era, which you know, it's there, but I choose to ignore it generally.
Yeah.
We all know it exists, but let's just sweep it out.
Can I just say, and we are the holders, but I do as well. I am not a big fan.
No.
Big fan of the European Cup, not a big fan of the Champions League.
Yeah, I was talking to Scraggy the other way, and there was just something about the knife-edged nature of the European Cup. The two kind of first leg, second legs, and it could all go horribly wrong, and dreams could be shattered in a second, or absolute kind of crazy stories could.
But wasn't the Champions League brilliant when it was single knockout and it's COVID?
I did, yeah. It was okay. It was better to a degree to what it is now, and that was one good thing that COVID brought us. I felt, but yeah. I think when you have the chance of there being that kind of shock happening, makes it all the more interesting and more fun. And I think a lot of that's been stolen away by relentless group kind of formats. And
well, it's the fact I've seen City play Shakhtar Donetsk probably more than I've seen them play Fulham. You know, and it's like, what is going on? It's nonsense.
And also there's that debate of should it be called the Champions League when it's one champion from each country, you know? And
there is a chap in our book, isn't there, Peter?
There is.
Oh, come on.
What if the Champions League was only champions?
It would have to revert back to its 32 club format, wouldn't it? I would imagine. Oh, mind you, there's a few more nations there. It'd still be, but I think you tended to find you get these dangerous kind of East European teams getting through against bigger teams, and it just it made everything a little less certain, and that was the intrigue of the old European Cup. That's what I liked about it so much.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So these are going to be questions on the old European Cup. No Champions League in here, boys. So don't worry. So the first question: the semi-finals of the 78-79 European Cup created a first. What was it? And I'll give you a little sub clue. The 4 teams that were in the semi-finals, it was the first time it had happened since the inaugural year in 1955. But what was significant about the 4 teams that were in the semi-finals? Okay, I'll leave that one with you for a moment. Leave that to ferment and bubble for a sec. Number 2, which former European champions hold the record for the most goals scored in a European Cup game? So which former European champions hold the record for the most goals scored in a European Cup game? And a little clue, if this means anything at all, they went on to win the trophy that year. They scored the most goals in a European Cup game. So, moving on, number 3. For 3 points, guys, 1 point for each. The 3 French teams to reach... Actually, no, sorry, it's for 4 points. I do apologize.
Oh.
Yeah, the 4 French teams to win the European Cup or Champions League final. 4 French teams that have reached the European Cup or Champions League final. So we have veered slightly into Champions League territory, but only minutely. Okay, so not too much. And then question 4. Which 3 sides did Ajax beat in their 1971, 1972, and 1973 European Cup finals? Which 3 sides did Ajax beat in their 1971, 1972, and 1973 European Cup finals? And number 5, which Polish side knocked Liverpool out of the quarter-finals of the 1982-83 version of the European Cup? So which Polish side knocked Liverpool out of the 1982-83 version of the European Cup? So, Peter, moving over to you. Now, you're a massive Man City fan, and you're a Man City fan for the predating the time that the modern kind of millennial fans seem to think that Man City have existed from. You go back to the dark days when Man City weren't this great kind of global brand that they are now. So when you first started watching football, I think we talked about it last time, it was about around 65, 66, wasn't it, when you first got into football?
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's quite a nice... I looked it up, actually. The very first professional game of football I went to see, and it dates it lovely for what's coming up. But I went to see Blackpool play Chelsea on Christmas Day. That was the first game I ever went to when they used to play on Christmas Day. So my mum and dad got married at Christmas on December the 19th, and then went away to the same hotel in Blackpool till I was 21 every year. And the reason I am a City fan is because my dad was not interested in football whatsoever. So here I am, I'm mad on football. I'm aged 6, I think, and I'm asking my dad, can I go to the game? You know, I can tell people are going to watch this game. And my dad wasn't for going. But these 2 fellas heard me say, you know, that I wanted to go to see Blackpool versus Chelsea. And you never forget this, did they? They were called Fred Small and Sid Hines, which was great. And I went with them. And the reason, the reason I am a big City fan is that, as I said, my dad... Dad was more interested in going to the pub. You know, my dad loved the pub, and to be fair, the pub loved my dad. You know, he was great in a pub. You know, he was sort of a meeting up. You know, he'd buy you drinks, he'd make you laugh. He was the life and soul of any pub he ever went in anywhere, and he went in a lot. But I had no one to take me to football. And then there was a lad that I played football with, and his dad was a City fan. the famously named Harry Honey. They all have great names, these people that got me into football. And I went on November the 9th, 1968 was my first game. So I just missed City winning the title. And we lost 1-0 against Sheffield Wednesday, inevitably. And then a fortnight later, he asked me again, did I want to go? I wasn't sure, but we beat Burnley 7-0. And then the next two games, we won 4-2 and 5-1 against QPR and West Brom. And that was me. And it's funny, I wrote a film for City a fortnight ago when they unveiled the statue to Summy Bell and Lee. I wrote a film that was shown before the game kicked off in front of 55,000 fans, which was nice. But they asked me a similar sort of question. I got interviewed before the game, and I said, "Oh, City were brilliant when I started going. I've always thought we'd claw. I used to say to my kids, we'll claw our way back. But in those, even though I just missed the title, they won the cup in '69 and." The Cup Winners' Cup in 1970 and the League Cup in 1970. And, I think one of the things that has happened is when I was a kid growing up, the FA, I was talking about it with those lads that I said earlier, old boys of our school, and we were saying about how exciting the FA Cup was. If anything, the FA Cup was the biggest, was bigger to win than the league because it was the only thing that was on the telly, and the FA Cup was the thing. So the Cup Winners' Cup for all the European Cup was the big one. It wasn't like it is now, it was still massive because we'd won the FA Cup, and it was all very exciting. And then, yes, I did the full tour of the dark days.
Fantastic. You're right about the FA Cup, though, mate. It was because football now has become part. It used to be apart from the kind of moribund schedule of the TV, didn't it? But now it's just part of it. It's become part of the kind of accepted.
Yeah, I mean, when I was, when I was mad on football, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, it was the most exciting time of the year because you got the FA Cup final, on whatever it was, the second Saturday in May, and then you got the home internationals. And so you got that, and then a fortnight later it was England-Scotland, which was like, wow, this is it, And we all used to watch England-Scotland like we watched the cup final. The house was full. It was the full 9 yards of everyone sat in front of the telly watching. That was the biggest thing, and it was wonderful. It was great because it was the only football you saw. It was.
That's right, mate. You had about 5 games a season that you could watch live if you didn't go down to the games yourself. It was crazy, really, in comparison, isn't it? It's
Match of the day was one match. It was, it wasn't a missed title. That was it. It was called match of the day. You got one game. That was it.
That's it. And when it first came out, it was one game, and then they started to sneak little bits of highlights from the other games in, and that was.
And you get down on your knees hoping, if City, City beat someone like 5-0 at home, you're going, oh please, for let one be on that. You couldn't tell,
Yeah.
And inevitably, we were always on when we lost,
Yeah. Boys, I'm conscious that we haven't scored up those. Thanks for talking. That was fantastic. Thanks for taking us on that traipse back in time. But Christmas. So it all started Christmas Day at Blackpool.
Yeah, that was my first game. Yeah,
I bet that was cold, mate. I've been to Blackpool, and when that wind's lapping in from the Irish Sea, it really bites.
It's funny, I can remember they had an old wooden stand behind the goal, and we sat in that. And I remember, everyone stamping feet to keep warm on the wooden stand. That was what we did.
Really, really cool. So, guys, I'm just going to round up scores from the first 2 rounds, and then go into round 4, and then we'll do another score up. So, Michael, how many points have you accrued over the first 2 rounds, mate?
6.
6. Wonderful. Good. That's good. And Paul, what do you have so far, mate?
1.
Ooh, okay.
The highlight was the first question when I had Jamaica and Cuba, scored out Cuba, and then the last question I'd Haiti or Jamaica and scored out Jamaica.
Oh, mate. Oh dear. That's awful. I'm sorry to hear that, mate. But you can have a late surge, though. I can feel it.
After
Yeah,
the first round.
you're building. I can feel it. I can feel it, mate. So, Peter T, how many have you got so far, sir?
I've got 6. That brilliant 3 on how many times Olympia had won.
Oh,
Got me to 6.
amazing. Fantastic. Brilliant, mate. Well done. No, that's good. That's good. And Peter P, how many do you have at the moment, sir?
I'm on 10.
10. Okay. So,
Told you.
I mean, the first round, it was like we had two of 4 runners throughout. So you sort of knew who was going to be there at the end. But we've got a real battle for second. I don't want to rule you out yet, Paul, but we have a real battle for second place here. Between Michael, Peter, and Paul. Yeah, of course, yeah. So we'll see how this shapes up. It's all getting very exciting. So we're going to the 4th round, and then we'll score these, and then we'll have another kind of recount, see how we're getting on. So the 4th one, hopefully this is going to be more to everyone's taste than some of the others. And this one's called the British game. Okay. So the British game. The first question, boys, is who was the first Israeli footballer to play in England? Number 2, who is the all-time highest scorer in the Scottish top tier? Oh. Well, this is Premier League era. I know that Paul, those we know who the top scorer, but in the Premier League era of Scottish football, the highest scorer in the Premier League era of Scottish football. There's going to be some bonuses thrown in here as well, boys. So, okay. So only 2 Welshmen have won the European Golden Shoe. Can you name them? 1 point for each. 2 Welshmen to win the Golden Shoe. If you get 1, that's great. 2 is going to be tough because it's the second one is quite a stretch, shall we say? Question number 4. Who is the first Englishman to score in 2 European Cup finals? The first Englishman to score in 2 European Cup finals. And number 5, which English goalkeeper has won the European Cup with 2 different English clubs?
English goalkeeper, Phil, was that?
English goalkeeper to win the European Cup with 2 different English clubs. Okay, guys. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to run through before we speak to Peter in a short while about the book. We're going to run through the answers for this and go over the bonus point questions as well. So the European Cup, question 1. The semi-finals of the 1978-79 European Cup created a first. It was the first time this had happened since the inaugural competition in 1955. The 4 qualifiers, none of them had won the European Cup before. Okay, so if you put that, that's fine. The 4 qualifiers were Nottingham Forest, Cologne, Malmo, and Austria Vienna. So it would have been the first time that any of them would have won the World Cup, whoever would have qualified, European Cup, sorry, whoever would have qualified. So give yourself a point if you've got something along those lines as an answer. Okay. Number 2, which former European champions hold the record for the most goals scored in a European Cup game? And the answer is Feyenoord. Feyenoord, they beat KR Reykjavik 12-2.
All right.
In 1969-70 campaign, which of course culminated in them winning the final. We won't talk any more about that though, Paul. We'll just leave it.
Did beat them this week though. So that was
yeah, that's it. Yeah,
When it counts.
That's a bit of Pyrrhic revenge there. For,
Big one.
for the previous, for the previous that you had with them back in the day. and 4 French teams to reach the European Cup Champions League final. We have Reims, Saint Etienne, Olympique Marseille, and PSG, of course, Paris Saint-Germain.
Monaco versus Porto.
Oh, have five, of course. Yes, have that one too. So if you've got that one as well, I do apologise.
Oh, you see,
I'll tell you what, sack the question master. He's proper minged it up there. But yeah. But thank you for pointing it out for me, Peter.
Sorry, only because I had them.
Yes, of course, mate. Of course. Well done. That's fabulous. Yeah.
hang on a minute. Whoa, hang on a minute here. Just, I know he's winning by miles, but have you got 5 down or 4? You can't get 5. You can't get 5 points before.
Oh no, have 4. Yeah, don't have 5. Sorry, I didn't clarify that, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, it's all going pear-shaped, isn't it? So hopefully I've got this one right. Let's see. The next one. Which 3 sides did Ajax beat in their 1971, 1972, and 1973 European Cup finals? In 71, we had Panathinaikos, 72, Inter Milan, and 73, Juventus. Okay, so 3 if you got all of them. Yeah, 3 points for if you've got all of them, and 1 point for each one that you've got. Okay, boys. So moving on. Which Polish side knocked out Liverpool in the quarterfinal of the 1982-83 version of the European Cup? Widzew Łódź. And again, that same as the question about 78-79, all 4 semi-finalists had never won the European Cup before. So you had obviously Widzew, Hamburg, Juventus, and Real Sociedad. So Real Sociedad. So yeah. So again, it didn't take long for it to come around again. So the British game, the first Israeli to play in England was Avi Cohen.
It is skewed towards Liverpool fans, this quiz. I've just got to say, that's all.
Is that 2 in a row?
Yeah. There was like an Israeli guy who joined West Ham for a short period of time, but they couldn't sort out the paperwork for him. He played in the 70s World Cup. I forget what his name was. So I think
it's skewed towards all the old BBC videos I used to have.
Yeah. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. So with Avi, all the old kind of match day videos from
old match of the day and European.
All right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Because I think Avi Cohen actually scored he scored at both ends.
He scored an own goal and then he scored to go in front on the last day
of the season, and that sealed the kind of they beat Villa 4-1, but his goal kind of made it 2-1 or something like that, and put them in the lead. Yeah, so yeah, Avi Cohen. So yeah, he's had a marked effect on Liverpool's history. So the first Israeli to play in English football was Avi Cohen for Liverpool. So if you got that, give yourself a point. Question number 2: the all-time highest scorer in the Premier League in Scotland is Chris Boyd.
Ooh.
Okay, and we're going to come back for a little kind of guess-a-roo on that one in a bit. 2 Welshmen have won the European Golden Shoe. One is Ian Rush, and one is a guy called David Taylor, who scored 43 goals for Porthmadog in the days when they didn't kind of like make those goals worth. Each one was halved, wasn't it? Yeah. But prior to that, it wasn't, and he won the European Golden Shoe. So yeah, possibly the least well-known golden shoe winner of all time.
I've got to tell you, if you got that right, you should get 25 points.
Yeah. Anyone?
No, Rush.
25 points? No. Did anyone get Ian Rush?
Yeah, got Rushy. Yeah.
Oh right. Okay.
Well, it's him or Gareth Bale, wasn't it? That's the only 2 Welshmen I know. So that was John Charles.
John Charles was my other.
That's the 2 I went for.
Yeah. I had John Charles.
That would have been a good
I put Rush and John Charles. That was
we've all done the same thing.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, boys, that's good educated guessing. Unfortunately, I don't think David Taylor came into anyone's radar.
David Taylor.
No, but you'll remember his name now. Yeah.
You want to go to Porthmadog and there's a big blue plaque with it on, don't you?
Yeah. I bet there is as well. Yeah, down there. I actually saw their game. I was on the Blano Festive Railway, and I saw their ground down in the valley. It was a quaint little ground. Yeah, but yeah, that's where he made history.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, the next question was the first Englishman to score in 2 European Cup finals, Phil Neal. Phil Neal for Liverpool.
Hey, Liverpool again.
Yeah.
And sadly, I got it right.
Oh, well done, mate. He scored in. This is. I think the final's going to be epic. We've got some real contenders. It's going to be a heavyweight slug out. This one, I think. So yeah, the first one was Phil Neal, 1977 against Russia, Mönchengladbach, and 1984 against Roma. Yeah. And the English goalkeeper to win the European Cup with 2 different English clubs, Jimmy Rimmer. Yeah, from Manchester United, sitting on the substitute bench. Got a medal though. Got a medal. So yeah. It's official. It does count. And he played 9 minutes of the 1982 European Cup final before being substituted for Nigel
Spink. Yeah,
good. Yeah. So give yourself a point if you got that. So, boys, how many points have you got accrued over the last 2 rounds? And we'll add them together. So, Michael, how many did you get in the last 2, mate?
I've just added them all up together, so I know what my total score is. I didn't look what I got for those.
What's your total, mate? That's fine.
Total's 14.
14. Oh, that's good scoring, mate. Paul, what's your total thus far?
I got 5 over those 2 rounds.
Oh, right. Okay.
So running total 6.
Fantastic. Well done, mate. That's pretty good. And Peter T, how many of you got, mate?
In that total. Those 2 rounds, I got 8. It was right. one each for the French and 1 each for the Ajax.
Right. It? So yeah, that's it. Yeah. So
you're 2 out of 3 on Ajax, and I got all 4 of the French.
So your total, you got 8. So you're on 14.
I got just a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I got 9.
Oh,
9. 50, yeah, I got Abby Cohen. I got Abby Cohen and Jimmy Rimmer in that last bit.
Oh, well done, mate. Well done. So that's 15. And Peter P, how many you got, mate?
Total is 21.
21. Right. So what we're going to do, we're going to go back and...
Which is good, because we've only had 20 questions.
Yes, but there's several worth multiple points.
He got that 5 point, that 5 points on the French teams, though, didn't he? You know what I mean? That wasn't even up for tender. It's just occurred to me there is one bonus point going on the British game round, and it's a guesstimate. We said that Chris Boyd was the Premiership all-time top scorer. How many goals did he score in the Scottish Premier? And we'll go with Michael first. Michael, how many goals did Chris Boyd score in the Scottish Premier?
I have not got a clue, so I was going to say 200.
200. Peter P, how many do you reckon, mate?
I've written down 230. So.
230. And Peter T, how many do you think he's got?
I don't think it's that many. I'm going lower than 200. Let's go 189.
189. And Paul, how many do you think Chris Boyd scored in the Scottish Premier?
He's got to go 190, or he's not playing it right, are you?
I think he's more than I think he got
201.
210.
310.
310.
Yeah.
The point goes to Peter P.
Oh.
It was 221 that he scored. 221, which now puts you on 22, I believe, Peter, doesn't it? Yeah, that's it. 22. Yeah,
20 questions.
Adjudicating is absolutely correct. So, Peter P, talk us through the book. I said to you in the email earlier, there was that we've already explored some of the great footballing what ifs in the podcast that we did. But which one did you have the most fun speculating over?
Well, we mentioned one earlier that I really enjoyed, and that was what if the the Champions League was for champions only, and the amount of times that the Champions League has been won by teams who did not win the league is astonishing, and it has a massive impact in one very, very famous season, 1999, where neither Bayern Munich or Manchester United were their domestic champions. And the team who went the furthest in the competition and were the domestic champions were Dynamo Kiev. So we could have had, if it was champions only, we could have had a win from Kiev with that great team of Shevchenko and Rebrov. And that was really good fun to write about and speculate on.
Yeah, it would have been deeply deserved as well, because they were a fantastic side. They weren't just beating average side. I think they absolutely trounced Barcelona.
They won 4-1 in the Nou Camp.
Yeah, and 3-0 in Kiev, I think it was.
One of the interesting things with this Champions with Champions Only is that comes out of it is you think that the big teams, want it to be that way, so they've got more chance of winning. But I think you calculated United would probably won about another 3 or 4, didn't you?
Yeah, quite
possibly. If it had been for champions
possibly.
only.
Quite possibly. Arsenal never made a final, obviously. Actually, they would have done. Sorry, that was off the back of their invincible year. But Liverpool wouldn't have won it. Liverpool wouldn't have won it. Either of their times when they won the Champions League, they wouldn't have won those trophies because they fourth both times. It's a great thing. So that was a really, really good fun one to write about, and the European Cup being diluted into the Champions League and also diluting the UEFA Cup and into what we have now, these quite odd competitions that we have now, which are just taking a lot, qualifying for Europe, where it means that teams are going to play their reserves because they don't care about the European trophy, which is quite something.
I think the phrase is Mickey Mouse competitions, isn't it? The Europa Conference League it's a farce, really. And even like the UEFA Cup was always the hardest to win. I felt there was this strong kind of group of 3 or 4 countries from the top leagues in Europe and all battling out, and that was arguably a harder competition.
There is a pattern for a long time of the team who wins the UEFA Cup the next year wins the European Cup. It did emerge, didn't it, that way? And that was because you tended to find the UEFA Cup winners won the league that season as well in their domestic leagues and were incredibly strong. So an interesting one, that, Pete. Thanks for sharing. That was fantastic.
One of the great things, isn't it, with the Champions League is how Seville always make sure they finish 3rd, just so they can go in the UEFA Cup and win it.
That's it. Yeah. Just
that's our trophy. Forget trying to win the European Cup. Finish 2nd in the group. Forget that. Make sure we finish 3rd. That is the goal every year, isn't it?
Just clear out the rest of the kind of the chaff, and we'll just jump in at the last minute and pinch it off everyone. It's an amazing statistic, Sevilla. It's just one of those anomalies of football, isn't it? How they can continually win that competition. Anyway, moving on in the quiz, we're going into round 5, which is behind the Iron Curtain. So we're going to bang off 2 rounds now, quick fire, guys, and see where the scores leave us at the end. So the first question is, who are the only Hungarian side to win a major European trophy? The only Hungarian side to win a major European trophy. Now, we're saying major European, we've just disparaged the Europa Conference League, and this this is one of the kind of early kind of pre-UEFA Cup. It was what the UEFA Cup used to be. So there's a clue in there, guys. So it's not recently. But the only Hungarian side to win a major European trophy. So this might be a guesswork one. Question number 2: which Eastern Bloc player won the Ballon d'Or in 1986? So which Eastern Bloc player won the Ballon d'Or in 1986? Okay. Now, boys, this is a 4-pointer, this one. So only 2 major European finals were contested by teams both from behind the Iron Curtain. Can you name the 2 in each final that were there? So 4 teams in total. So 2 finals that both pitted teams from the Eastern Bloc against each other. And there were only 2 finals that did this. Who were the 4 sides in those 2 finals that only had Eastern Bloc teams in? Number 4. This one's a gift for you, Peter T. Who did Manchester City beat in the 1969-70 edition of the European Cup Winners' Cup final? Who did Manchester City beat in the 1969-70 edition of the European Cup Winners' Cup final?
I'm happy to pass on that one if you want.
No, you take the points where they're there to be taken, mate. You have them. You have them. And number 5, name the only East German side to win a major European trophy. And I'm going to be coming back for a bonus on that one as well. Name the only East German side to win a major European trophy. Okay. So we're going to move on to round 6, guys. And this one is called Name the Club. Name the club. Okay. So I'll give you a little pieces of information. You piece them together to name which club it was. So number 1, name the club who defeated Luton Town 4-1 at Wembley to win the 1988 Simod Cup final. So name the club who defeated Luton Town at Wembley to win the 1988 Simod Cup final. Number 2, name the German club who endured a trio of second-place finishes, the Bundesliga, German Cup and Champions League in 2002. Name the German club who endured a trio of second-place finishes, the Bundesliga, German Cup and Champions League in 2002. Question number 3. Name the English club that captured 5 domestic and European trophies during the year 2001. Name the English club that captured 5 domestic and European trophies during the year 2001. Number 4. Name the Welsh non-league club who defeated Napoli 2-0 in the 1962-1963 European Cup Winners' Cup first round. Name the Welsh non-league club who defeated Napoli 2-0 in the 1962-63 European Cup Winners' Cup first round. And question number 5. Name the Italian club who in 1978-79 season went a whole campaign unbeaten, yet still failed to win the Serie A title. So name the club who in 1978-79 went a whole season unbeaten in Serie A, but still failed to win the title. Great question, guys. Great question, that one. So we're going to score them, boys. Okay. So behind the Iron Curtain, question 1. The only Hungarian side to win a major European trophy was Ferencváros in 1964-65 Fairs Cup final. They beat Juventus in Turin. Oddly enough, they beat Juventus 1-0 in Turin, so in their own backyard. So quite a victory. Question number 2. The 2 major.
I had them or Jamaica.
Yeah, you had Cuba this time. It was Cuba.
I crossed out Ferencváros.
Oh, did you? Oh, dear, you did. Oh, Paul, you're not on your own, mate. That's yeah, you have a brother in arms there. That's fine.
Yeah, no, I put on bed, to be fair, but yeah. Good.
And question number 2: which East Bloc player won the Ballon d'Or in 1986? It was Igor Belanov. Igor Belanov. Okay. Question number 3. The 2 major European finals contested by teams from the Iron Curtain, 1 point for each team. The first one was Dynamo Kiev v Ferencváros in 1975, European Cup Winners' Cup final. And the other one was Dynamo Tbilisi versus Carl Zeiss Jena in 1981. So 1 point for each club's name that you've got jotted down there, boys. Number 4, who did Manchester City beat to win the 1969-70 edition of the European Cup Winners' Cup final? It was Górnik Zabrze of Poland. Górnik Zabrze. In question number 5, name the only German side to win a major European East German side, to win a major European trophy. It was Magdeburg.
Oh, bloody hell!
Okay, Magdeburg. Okay.
Carl's
I'll tell you what, guys.
for that one. It's the only East German team I know.
I'll tell you what, guys. For an extra point, if you can jot down who Magdeburg beat, you can earn another point. Just jot that down, and we'll score. And
what year was that, Phil?
1974, 73-74. Magdeburg.
What competition again?
Yeah.
European Cup Winners' Cup final. Oddly enough, this is an odd fact that I picked up. They played in that tournament, and the final was at De Cup in Rotterdam, and they played their first game against NAC Breda at De Cup, and the attendance in the game against NAC Breda was higher than the attendance in the final. There was 6.
I'm going to say Barcelona.
Yeah, there was right. Okay, anyone else want to give a shout on who that could be?
No,
Let's go Real Madrid.
big guess.
Why not?
I'll let you.
Borussia Dortmund.
Borussia Dortmund.
Ajax.
Boys, no one scores a point. It was Milan. In Milan, they beat Milan 2-0 in Rotterdam, and it was
Ajax were in the.
Yeah, it was in front of a crowd of 5,000. That final, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So you could see that the Milan fans weren't particularly interested in that one. So, guys, name the club. The club who defeated Luton Town 4-1 at Wembley to win the 1988 Zimmer Cup final were Reading.
Oh, that was
Reading won that final 4-1. A month later, Luton went on to win the League Cup final against Arsenal.
Arsenal, yeah.
And question number 2, the German side who endured a trio of second place finishes in 2002 were, of course, Bayer Leverkusen, also known as Neverkusen. Yeah, it was awful. I mean, they had Bernd Schneider, and there was a number of players who went on from their team to lose the World Cup final as well. It was ridiculous. So what a season for them! Four times losers. And there's this fantastic scene at the final where Lucio, who also played for Bayer Leverkusen, goes and hugs Bernd Schneider at the end because it's salvation for him, but it's desolation for Schneider. It's crazy. Question number 3. Name the English club that captured 5 domestic and European trophies during the year of 2001. It was Liverpool.
Oh, another Liverpool question.
I'm not a Liverpool fan, mate. Honest, I'm not.
I've only had one.
I'm really
Something to do with a number of trophies won, probably.
Yeah.
Hello.
I would have thought. I mean, at least you've got the 1999, the triple that Man United achieved. They did so when they weren't the champions. So you could. That's always one you can throw at United fans as well.
And we didn't lose. And United did.
Ah, well, there we go.
That's why it's better.
Wonderful. Moving on to number 4. Name the Welsh non-league club who defeated Napoli 2-0 in the 1962-63 European Cup Winners' Cup first round. It was Bangor City. Yeah, they actually beat them 2-0 in Bangor, lost 3-1 in Naples. If away goals would have been the metric, they would have gone through. But it wasn't. They went to a playoff that was played at Highbury, and they lost 2-1 to Napoli at Highbury. So yeah, what a sour kind of defeat that was. Away goals, they would have been through to the next round, but cruel. So, question 5: name the Italian club who, in 1978-79, went a whole season unbeaten, yet failed to win the Serie A title. It was Perugia. They won 11, drew 19, lost none, conceded only 16 goals all season and still didn't win the title. Milan took the title ahead of them by 3 points.
That's not a football club; it's a wine, Phil. That.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was. But yeah, it is. It is great
That's
wine.
mad.
Italian is my favourite wine as well. I love an Italian red.
Hey, the Invincibles.
Yeah, the Invincibles that didn't win anything. Never won a Serie A title ever. Never came close before or since. And their leading their campaign was fueled by the goals of a young Paolo Rossi. Would you believe?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So great there, guys. So if we just score up, and then we can see who's made it out of the group stage and onwards. So we've got 2 rounds there, guys. What's your total score, Michael?
20.
20. Paul, what do you have, sir?
I got 1 in each there, so that's me up to 7.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And Peter?
Yeah, no, I've got 3, so 18.
18. And Peter P?
28.
28. So that means, guys, in 4th place, last but not least, we have the wonderful Paul McQuaid. Oh, look, Paul, thank you for competing.
Thank you. I think we might put the dinner on an hour ago.
Well, at least you can tell her it was worth it. And in 3rd place, and not joining us in the final either, Peter T. Oh,
Great shame. Died at the death there, yeah. It was a Reading. I knew Reading. It just wouldn't come up the back of my head into my mouth.
Oh, well, I'd look nice.
That was the one answer. It wouldn't have got me there anyway, because I think you had 20, Michael, didn't you? But yeah, that was the one that was killing myself.
I had Forest for that answer, and I was wrong on that one. So it wasn't
right, okay.
So
the Simod Cup final made no difference to anyone.
No.
There we go. Yeah.
Not even Luton.
Not even Luton. Not even Luton. No. It was at least they got the kind of loss out their system for the League Cup final though. So that means joining us in the final, joining Stephen Scragg and Marvin Close in the final, we have Peter Prickett and Michael Hamlin. Congratulations, boys. And to paraphrase the words of the South-faced copper-topped quiz mistress, Anne Robinson, you are the weakest link, boys. Goodbye. Guys, it's been absolutely fantastic. Thank you for competing, and we'll see the 2 of you next time. But it's been a really good fun show. So, guys, we'll see you for the New Year's Eve final on New Year's Eve. Oddly enough, yeah, I'm getting good at this, aren't I? I'm getting really good. Right, but we'll see you there, guys. Thanks for tuning to Fussball Geekz. See you next time. Bye, everyone.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers.
That was great.